Take kindly the counsel of the years. Counsel means the lessons, the advice. See what happens as we grow, as we age, we gather more and more affection, more and more experience from this world. So the poet suggests that we should take counsel of the years. These are years which we have spent on this earth and the experience which we have gathered. We should pay heed to it, right? We should learn from our past experiences, gracefully surrendering the things of you. And you should be happy to part away with the things of you, right? So there are certain things which we do when we are young, like you also, you did certain things when you were a child, but you cannot continue with all those things as you grow up. So he says that we should age gracefully. This is what the poet is trying to say, that aging should happen gracefully. We should not be sad, or we should not be we should not be it should not be done that we are not able to accept this process of aging. Aging is very natural to everything on this earth. Every single thing which is a part of this planet, which is a part of this universe, ages. So aging is a very natural process, and you should be comfortable with it. Take it gracefully, and you should behave according to your age, right? When you are grown up, you should not behave like a child. There are certain changes take place. So you should age. What is the meaning of aging gracefully? That you accept your real age and you behave accordingly. So you should pay heed to all your past experiences, right? Learn from your past experiences and gracefully surrendering the things of you. And as you grow up, as you become old, what you should do? You should gracefully try and surrender all the things which belong to your youth, right? And accept new things which will be a part of your old age or your current age, right? Nurture strength of the spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. And what else you should do? You should nurture strength of spirit. Means you should strengthen your spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. To shield you means to protect you from any sudden misfortune. Means you should be prepared for any misfortune, any unfortunate event which may happen in future. It should not be so that any kind of calamity or any kind of mishappening in your life, it shatters you. Right? You should have this strength of the spirit. You should be strong enough, should be courageous enough, you should be prepared enough to face any misfortune which might happen in your life. You should face all the problems, all the hardships, all the calamities in your life bravely. And how will you be able to face them bravely? When you are prepared, when you have strength of spirit, then only you will be able to deal with these things in a courageous manner. But do not distress yourself with dark matter. Now see, the poet is advising you to be prepared, to strengthen your spirit to face all the problems and the misfortunes which might happen. But it doesn't mean that you should become very negative. Dark imaginings here means the negativity, right? Negative, dark thoughts. It doesn't mean that you should start thinking that if this happens, or you start thinking about all the bad things which might happen in future, right? So, and become sad. What happens if we think for a long period about anything which is negative? If we have negative, dark thoughts continuously, what happens? We become distressed and we become sad. So the poet is suggesting that although we should be prepared, We should have the strength of the spirit to protect us from all the misfortunes or any kind of calamity which can happen in our lives. But it doesn't mean that continuously you should keep on thinking about the misfortunes. Right? Why? Because in that case, you will become distressed, you will become sad. So he says that do not distress yourself with the dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. So what happens because of fatigue, when you are tired, when you're exhausted, and when you are lonely, then many negative thoughts, many fears, a lot of negativity enters into our mind, right? So we should try to avoid these things, right? Avoid any kind of negativity unless the event actually happens. Being scared of something imaginary is not advisable and it is not a good thing, right? The event has not happened and you are puzzled or you are tensed because of it, right? So you should not do that. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle upon yourself. Poet says that you should be disciplined. Leading a disciplined life is good, but again, too much of discipline, what will happen? What will be the result of too much discipline? Being too much disciplined, you will become harsh on yourself. So the poet says that be disciplined, but along with being disciplined, you should be gentle on yourself. Be kind to yourself, right? Don't be harsh or don't torture yourself by being too much discipline. Wholesome means complete. So do not impose too much discipline upon yourself. Be disciplined, organize your life, lead your life in an organized manner, but along with it, you should also be gentle, kind to your own self. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. So the poet says that you are a child of the universe. You are a part of this universe as much as the trees, the stars, or any other natural object. Right? Any other thing which is created by universe and is a part of universe, you also are created by nature, and so you also are a part of this universe as much as any other object, right? So in these lines, the poet is trying to establish the supremacy of nature, right? He's trying to say that you are the child of the universe. You're not the master of the universe. This is what we have started thinking, right? We have started thinking ourselves as the supreme beings, right? That is why humans, they are the only ones to disturb the ecological balance in nature. All the other creatures, all the other flora, fauna, anything you can think of in nature, they know their limits. They never cross their limits. It's the human beings who always cross their limits, right? They try to establish themselves as supreme. They try to subdue nature. And what is the result of it? No doubt nature is much more powerful than humanity. And so after some time, the nature teaches us a lesson, right? Like we learned a lesson, or rather still learning a lesson, right? So you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. So you are also a part of the universe as the trees and the stars are. You have a right to be here. Because God has sent you on this earth, because you are born on this earth, so it is your right to be here. Right? Because you have been brought down to this earth to live and not to run away. Right? He's talking about the escapists, right? The people who try to escape and who try to end their life they are not able to face the difficulties. So he's saying that you have a right to be here. It is your right to be a part of this earth because God has sent you to this earth. You have been brought down to this earth. So it is your right. So as well as your duty to be on this earth and not to leave it till the right time comes. And whether or not it is clear to you. So whether you understand this fact or whether you don't understand this fact, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it is. Everything in the nature is happening the way it has been decided, right? The events, all the natural events, everything which is happening around us as is happening the way it should happen, right? You should not blame yourself for anything, right? There is a reason whether you might, he's saying whether or not it is clear to you. So whether or not you are able to understand it or you don't understand it. But the fact is, the reality is that everything in this universe is unfolding and is happening the way it should happen. You like it, you don't like it, you are able to interpret it, you are not able to interpret it, doesn't matter, but the events are happening the way they have been decided upon by the supreme power, that is the God. Therefore, be at peace with God. So, because everything in nature, all the events in this nature, anything which is happening around you in this universe is because of God's will, so you should be at peace with God. See, in this stanza, the poet actually does not approve agnosticism, right? So he is a believer in, he believes in God. He's a God-fearing person. He believes in God, and so he's trying to say in this line is that therefore, because everything in the nature is happening according to the will of the supreme power according to God's will, so you should try to be at peace with God. Right? Whether it doesn't matter, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. So whatever you conceive him to be, what is the meaning of whatever you conceive him to be? That whatever you think God to be. You can have a philosophical notion about God, or you can have an empirical notion about God. It is immaterial. Right? But you should be at peace with God. You should never try to go against God's will. Right? And it actually doesn't matter whatever you conceive him to be, means whatever you think him to be. See, different people have different notions about God and religion and spirituality. So he says that it is immaterial. It doesn't matter what you think God to be, but the thing is, the crux of the whole thing is that you should be at peace with God. Right? And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. So, and he says, and he further says that whatever you are struggling for, whatever your plans, whatever your effort, aspiration means your plans, your goals, right? So, whatever you are working for, labors means the efforts, right? So, whatever you are working for whatever your hard work is for, and to achieve certain goals, aspirations in the noisy confusion of life. Noisy confusion means in this chaos of life, right? So in this chaotic, noisy world, what are we doing? We are making efforts. We are putting in a lot of labor and hard work to achieve certain goals, aspirations, desires. Keep peace in your soul. So the poet says, then while you are doing this, while you are working hard, while you are putting in a lot of effort to achieve your aims, aspirations in this chaotic world, what you should do, you should always keep your soul peaceful. That is very important. There should always be peace in your soul, right? With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful dream. In the concluding lines of the poem, the poet says that with all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams. So life is full of sham. Sham means falseness, right? Fakeness, all these things, the things which are not real. Drudgery means dull, boring work. And broken dreams. Broken dreams means the shattered dreams. There are so many desires which are shattered, right? And no one on this earth is able to achieve everything. That is not possible, right? So everyone has certain shattered dreams which are shattered. At times we have to lead a boring, dull life, right? Full of labor. You have to work really very hard. So that is drudgery. Sham means we all come across fakeness, falseness, right? It is a beautiful world. So the poet is being optimistic and he says that in spite of infidelity, in spite of lies, in spite of sham, in spite of jealousy, pain, ignorance, all these negative things which are a part of this world, in spite of all these things, still the world is beautiful. It is still a place which is worth living, right? Though there are certain negative things which are a part of this world. There is jealousy in this world, there is suffering in this world, there is pain in this world, there is ignorance in this world, there are lies in this world, there is hypocrisy, there is infidelity, people are not loyal. Still, people cheat, but still, in spite of all these negative things, this world is a beautiful place. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. And so the poet says, because still in spite of this, all this negativity, the world is a beautiful place. So you should try to be cheerful, happy, and this should be your aim, that you have to work towards being happy. Right? So the poet ends in a resolve that strive to be happy. It should be your resolution that you, every moment of your life, you should spend trying to be happy and cheerful. Right? With this, we come to the end of this poem. I told you that in this poem, the poet has been didactic. He's trying to teach us the ways of living a happy life, how you should live your life. So all these points have been told by the poet to lead a happy and joyous and a good life, right? With all these positive thoughts and belief in yourself. So with this, poem ends. Thanks.